Now imagine being a nurse from Sudan, a translator from Afghanistan, a university student from Iran. Now imagine that no matter what your record, your ambition, your clean visa application, you are barred from entry to the United States, not because of what you've done, but because of where you were born and what passport you hold. This is, in essence, the Trump travel ban. And now we find echoes of the same policy closer to home as Kemi Badenoch flirts with the same approach here in the United Kingdom. Well, it's not going to happen, I suppose, because Kemi Badenoch will never reach control of number 10, but the idea is being floated here as well. President Donald Jessica Trump, travel bans that implemented first in 2017, revised repeatedly and now revived in his second term, target nationals from up to 19 countries, most of them from either majority Muslim, politically unstable or simply globally expendable countries. Framed as a national security measure, the bans have been widely criticised as racist, arbitrary and ineffective. Courts initially challenged them, but the US Supreme Court ultimately upheld the third iteration, setting a dangerous precedent. If you couch discrimination in enough administrative language, it passes as policy. The consequences: students turned away from universities, refugees denied family reunification, economies both in the US and abroad disrupted. According to Global Refugee and Amnesty International, these measures erode asylum protections, they violate international law, and they stigmatise entire nationalities. Fast forward to London in June 2025. Now, at a think tank speech, Kemi Badenoch, embattled leader of the Conservatives, self-declared ideological heir to Thatcher and Trump, floats the idea of country-specific travel bans for the UK. There are scenarios where that is viable, she says, while performing a rhetorical bend to distance herself from Trump's actual list. But we must ask, what are these scenarios? If the goal is to stem immigration, then Badenoch is targeting those least able to defend themselves: asylum seekers, students, migrants fleeing war, persecution or climate catastrophe. This is less about practical immigration policy and more about electoral theatre. Faced with Reform UK gnawing at the Conservative base, Badenoch is attempting to outflank Nigel Farage by sounding tougher, blunter, crueler. It's a race to the bottom, and the prize is an electoral reward is an electorate already disillusioned with political gimmickry. And we shouldn't mince words. Travel bans do stop terrorism. They don't stop terrorists. They do stop toddlers with refugee status. They stop Afghan women's rights activists. They stop people fleeing the very terror we claim to fight. But they stop they stop the patterner of terrorism. It then becomes homegrown, I suppose. They don't stop terrorists. They find another way. They find another passport. The UK system is already broken. With over 225,000 claims in backlog and an £8 million a day hotel bill, this is not a system that needs more restrictions. It needs reform, competence and, above all, compassion. And the real tragedy is that travel bans close legal routes. They push desperate people into the arms of the smugglers. And then the same politicians who shut the front door have the audacity to blame the migrants for climbing through a window. Badenoch's comments also signal a willingness to override the European Convention on Human Rights, a document Britain helped to write after the horrors of the Second World War. Leaving the ECHR would not only endanger vulnerable migrants, it would undermine the Good Friday Agreement, disrupt our foreign policy and place us in a diplomatic category usually reserved for Belarus or Russia. Lord Sumption, it is true, has flirted with the idea of withdrawing from the ECHR, but legal philosophers know that rights, once seen as conditional or negotiable, quickly become meaningless. It's one of the ironies of the age that Kemi Badenoch invokes British sovereignty while mimicking American politics and policies, that she promises to get serious while cosplaying as a second-rate Farage, and that she talks of protecting British citizens while ignoring that 320,000 households are homeless, many of them veterans, care leavers, or victims of domestic abuse. There's no evidence that refugees are the cause of this housing crisis, Nor are they the cause of falling wages or NHS delays, but there is plenty of evidence that lazy policy making, posturing leadership, and the fetishization of border controls over competence have led us here. Travel bans don't make us safer. They make us smaller, they don't strengthen our union, they corrode it from within. We need a migration policy that is fair and firm, clear but compassionate, and above all we need to remember that a nation that closes the doors to the world will find the world stops listening. And perhaps one day it may find its own people wishing they could leave and being told they can't.